Yeah, I know, I feel kind of bad making yet another video about this guy, but I feel like because the Montreal Canadiens have had this story brewing for such a long time now, it only makes sense to update it as it goes on. Because today, what we are doing is we are going over Juraj Slafkovsky once again, as we have been in, let's say, videos every 2 days pretty much. But instead of talking about the discourse surrounding Slafkovsky from everybody else outside the Montreal Canadiens, today we are talking instead about what head coach Martin St. Louis said regarding this player. Now, I have seen, before we get into it by the way, I have seen more of an idea floating around saying that part of the reason the Canadiens may want to keep Slafkovsky around in the NHL and not send him down to the AHL probably lies with the idea that they want Marty St. Louis attached to this guy's hip. They don't want Slafkovsky to go to the AHL and exhibit an entirely different style of development, a different set of values to work on and things to focus on. They don't want to widely differentiate what Slafkovsky is focusing on in the NHL versus the AHL. They want to give this guy a consistent development path with consistent hobbies, consistent ideas, and a consistent coach who is always there guiding him in the right direction. Sure, the season may not be going all too great for Slafkovsky on a numbers point of view. The guy only has 2 points in however many games he has this season. But when it comes to Juraj Slafkovsky, we had Martin St. Louis pretty much give his own 2 cents as to why things are going the way they are and how we should be feeling about it. Take a look at this post made by Tripaka on the Habs subreddit. This was initially tweeted out by Eric Engels. Martin St. Louis was asked by Martin McGuire today about whether or not Juraj Slafkovsky puts too much pressure on himself. Here's St. Louis' answer, translated from French. So, pretty easy question, right? Do you think Slafkovsky puts too much pressure on himself? And of course the implication is, do you think that affects his game in a negative way? St. Louis replies saying this: I would say yes. It's not easy for a 19-year-old to avoid hearing that and not be exposed to that with all the media there is in Montreal. Sometimes it's not fair. Of course, he's referring to Slafkovsky putting too much pressure on himself due to all the conversations that are going around social media, all over the news cycle, Twitter, radio, TV, etc. Everybody talks about Slafkovsky, first overall, Nail Yakupov bust, etc., etc. I'm definitely not doing my part in making that go away by making all the videos that I'm making. St. Louis follows up by saying this, but for me, with Slafkovsky, you guys use Waze. When you're going somewhere, you use Waze. You put in your address, and let's say you're going to a nice place and you put your address in it. It tells you how much time it'll take, how many miles, and then you get into traffic. What happens with your arrival time? Does it drop or go up? Do you turn around or do you keep going? If you miss an exit, do you get frustrated and turn and go home? Or do you get rerouted and still end up at the destination? It's a serious question. I live my life the same way, and that's what we're doing with Slafkovsky. He's heading to a nice destination. We don't know exactly how long it'll take him to arrive, and sometimes there's traffic, and he can't get angry about it and can't get discouraged about it. Sometimes you miss the exit, but you find your way back. We don't have all the answers of when he'll be exactly where he's heading, but I do know he's going to a good place. So it's hard for a young guy to be in traffic sometimes and miss the exit, but everyone hits traffic and misses exits. It's not easy for a 19-year-old, but we're trying to help him with that. Oh my gosh, dude. I think Martin St. Louis just blew my mind. Like, I didn't even know what Waze was until I read this entire thing, but it's interesting because if you actually go onto the Twitter post that in which this is, like, made, Waze themselves, the actual Twitter account for the company, replied to the entire idea. Habs on Reddit posted the Eric Engels thing, Coach Marty using the popular navigation app Waze as a metaphor for Juraj Slafkovsky's journey as a young NHL player is just so perfect, and then the company actually replied, it's not about the turns, it's about where we're headed. So, there you go, there's some PR there if you wanted it. The folks over at Waze have it on lock. I'm more of a Google Maps guy myself, but you know what? If this is endorsed by the Canadiens, then maybe I have to make the switch. Who really knows? If anybody actually uses Waze, then hey, let me know in the comments, what is it about this app that makes it better than the others, and why should I switch over if you believe that I should? I don't really know anything about navigation apps and the hierarchy there, but hey, Marty St. Louis made a really good analogy with this one right here. What I like about this statement from St. Louis is that it really preaches being patient, and it doesn't just apply to Juraj Slafkovsky and this one player's development in the NHL. He pretty much uses this blanket idea of getting to where you need to go to apply to anything, really. Like, this is a philosophical lesson on life if I've ever seen one. If you miss an exit, do you get frustrated and go home, or do you just keep on going? You get rerouted to your destination via a different way. You'll explore a different part of the world. You'll explore different avenues of growth and progress to get to your destination, albeit in a different way. And this entire thing sounds so great until you realize he's talking about the development of a hockey player. Like, this guy's such a cool coach. I love how he rounds out the end of the entire thing by saying as well, hey, the guy's 19 years old. We always say that. Like, we always say that in these videos. You remember where you were when you were 19? Obviously, there is a different standard for players who happen to be taken first overall in the NHL entry drafts and who had pretty steep declines within these seasons, like Slafkovsky has had. He started off hot, became a little bit cold, then started to get his goals back up once he was placed on a line with Suzuki and Caulfield. But for Marty St. Louis to pretty much say it like this, it leaves no doubt in my mind that this is the type of guy that needs to be in charge when you have young players that are super vulnerable to poor development and poor decisions. This is the right kind of guy to be there in the position to mentor them, showcase them the ropes, and give them guidance. And when it comes to that idea rounding itself out, I could totally understand why the Canadiens do not want to send Slafkovsky down if this is the type of wisdom that St. Louis is approaching Slafkovsky's development with. Obviously, St. Louis wants to coach a hockey team that wins games. That's definitely, part of the reason he's here. But helping the team out and allowing these younger guys to grow to their best potential without any sort of definitive plan. Okay, Slafkovsky, by this year you got to be able to score 10 goals in a season. By this year you got to be able to get 40 points. By this year you should be able to, do this, that, and the other thing. No, it's not like that. Your destination is sometime down the line, but the navigation, the way you're going to get there, it's not guaranteed. It's twisting and turning and evolving and changing every single second, and I really like the philosophical application that Marty St. Louis is able to inspire with the way he answered that question. So yeah, did I just make an entire 8-minute video regarding one comment by Martin St. Louis? Yes, but can you blame me? This entire thing was crazy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Juraj Slafkovsky ways analogy and how Marty St. Louis was able to tie in a super philosophical life lesson into the question and answers as to how Slafkovsky's career has gone. Sure, he ultimately said what we wanted to hear from the question. Does Slafkovsky put too much pressure on himself? St. Louis says, yeah, he probably does. Like, it's tough to ignore when you're in Montreal and the media and everybody is always harping on you and talking about you every single second. But out of all of the we need to be patient about Slafkovsky speeches we've heard from everybody on social media, St. Louis probably gave the best one. So, props to his head coach for doing that for the guy. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this entire thing here. For the Montreal Canadiens, they are playing a game later today against the... Who do they have? They've got the Lightning. Okay, that's going to be great. The Lightning just played the Maple Leafs yesterday. And I hope that Nikita Kucherov does not go out there and score any more points, because Kucherov right now is tied for second in the NHL in points with Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes. If he gets 1 point, he overtakes them both and ties with Elias Pettersson for first in the league at 21 points. So Jake Allen, Montembeault, whoever it is that starts for the Canadiens against Tampa Bay later tonight, please do not allow Kucherov to get a point. Please, Mike Matheson, go out there and get me some blocks and get me some shots and maybe goals and assists too. There is a lot riding on this game later today. We'll probably make a post-game video about it afterwards if there's actually stuff worth talking about, but yeah, no promises. But either way, thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.